Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information, with some laughs, might I add. After looking at today's previews, I got pretty darn excited. Since you could only get the Jurassic Park cards in the set and the collector boxes, that's all I'm really interested in. The rates that you get them in the set boosters is not that great. You only get 3 of the Jurassic Park cards in a set booster box. But if you buy a collector's booster, it contains a Jurassic Park card in each pack. And there are 12 packs in a collector's booster box. There are 20 cards in that. I haven't bought a collector booster box in a long time. I think I'll buy one this time around because I think the Jurassic Park cards are really sweet. And there's plenty of other cards in the set that have also really cool art that I wouldn't mind owning.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
The Saga. First chapter, you make a wall, kind of like in the theme park. Then you make a 3/3 Dino, trample and haste. On the final one, destroy all walls and return the Saga transformed under your control. What does it do transform? Oh, it's a legendary land. It's the gates of the park. Each dinosaur card in your graveyard has escape. Escape cost is equal to that card's mana cost plus the exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. It also has a tapping ability for a green per dino you control. That's pretty sweet. I like the escape mechanic, and because that's what happens in the movie. All the dinosaurs escape their pens. What a funny way of just stamping the word, because like escape as a mechanic is a graveyard one, so it has nothing to do with like that realm of the movie. But the fact that they just took a literal term of escape and just slapped it on this card is pretty hilarious, in my opinion. It looks pretty fantastic. Ian Malcolm, Chaotician. This guy is really strange. It's like that red enchantment where you start exiling cards from each other. Only difference in here is that you don't have access to your own card pool. You have access to everyone else's cards, and vice versa. You basically are competing with everyone else to cast the exile cards before anyone else can.
That is one big pile of shit.
Dominus Rex Alpha. Per keyword that you end up sticking on this, you draw a card for each of them. When it enters the battlefield, you discard a number of creatures from your hand, and then that's when the keywords come into play. If you discard something flying, comes with a flying counter, and so on and so forth. Per 5 mana, a 6/6 with a package of abilities. That sounds cool. And it replaces all the cards that you potentially discard. I like the art on it too. Wotley, Poet of the Unity. When it enters, search your library for a basic, put in your hand, and then for 5 mana, you exile her and return her transformed. You can only do it as a sorcery. It's a Saga on the backside. Create 2 dinosaur tokens. The second chapter, creatures control have the ability to tap for Naya colors. Chapter 3, search for a dino, put in your hand. And then on the 4th and final chapter, dinosaurs gain double strike and trample. So that's quite the alpha strike. Hopefully nothing goes wrong by the time you get there. And then we have this weird Aztecian kind of art styles as well. We actually got different kinds. I don't know, take your pick and what you want. I almost like this one a little bit more. I think this one is just like got way too many colors on it for my taste. Yeah, I either go with the regular version or the this one right here. Breaches Eager Pillager. Whenever pirate control attacks that has been chosen, you choose one of these 3 things. So if you have 3 attacking pirates, you get all 3, but you don't get to double up on them. Create a treasure, creature can't block, exile top card of your library, you may play it that turn. That's cool. Him being a 3/3, the first strike means he's hard to block. I think he gets a special version too. Yeah, look at that. The detail on his face is pretty wicked. Yeah, I like it a lot. The Skull Spore Nexus. It costs X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. One or more non-token creatures you control die, you create a fungus dino with base power toughness equal to the power of those creatures. Okay, I was wondering why it says total. If there's a board wipe that happens, you would only get 1 fungus and you add everything up. So that's why it says what it says. For 2 mana, tapping a double target creature's power till end of turn. That could be scary, even on your own fungus. You give it trample, that'd be pretty scary. I think this got alternate art as well. It's like some kind of dinosaur on an altar of some kind. I don't know if I like this one too much. I almost prefer this one. Paints a way clearer image. Ogre Axonil, Deepest of Might. He's a god. He's got a literal dinosaur for an arm. That's pretty sick. Looks like he's got cat legs too. Trample 4/4 for 4 mana. For red source control, deal amount of non-combat damage or less than his power to an opponent that sources damage. So like say I play Shock, instead of it doing 2 damage, it would do 4 because that's what his power is. But you could influence that by pumping him up and making your stuff do even more damage. When he dies, you flip him transformed. Let's see what he does on his backside. It's a land. Tap for a red, or you tap 3 and it to transform it back. Activate only if red source dealt 4 non-combat damage this turn. And activate only as a sorcery. I think this is also getting a weird flaming skull. Kind of reminds me of the floating skulls from Doom. Oh man. The backside's cool on the other alternate art. It's got like looks like a temple painting. Gulta Stampede Tyrant. For 8 mana in a 12/12 trample, when it ETBs, you get to cheat any number of creatures from your hand onto the battlefield. Ooh, this version looks way sick. You get this one, or you get the other one, which looks like an oil painting of some kind. I like it. In case you didn't know, Caverns of Souls is getting reprinted in the set. Like as you could play it in standard kind of a set, which is pretty wild. We're probably overdue for Caverns of Souls in the format. Coercive Portal. Now this is a commander card. This is not legal in standard. You could tell based on the symbol. Honestly, it looks like a German Iron Cross. I don't know if they did that on purpose. I would have avoided that a little bit. Anyways, at the beginning of your upkeep, everybody votes. If Carnage gets more votes, you destroy all non-land permanents. If Homage gets more votes, draw a card. Lord of Atlantis. This is pretty sweet. I like this art a lot. It has not gotten a full art treatment yet, so I'm gonna be picking up one for myself. Mana Crypt. This is one of these kinds of cards where, it's just too expensive for just everybody to have, but it's one of those things that everyone should have. It's just that good. This is getting like a chroma treatment. This is the one where it has all the colors, but there's going to be like 5 other versions of this where one's all green, one's all red, so on and so forth. Yeah, so here's the red version, the yellow version, the blue one, the purple, so on and so forth. I preferably like the prismatic one with all the colors on it. I have the crappy Mana Crypt looking full art from, I think it was Double Masters. Might be wrong. It's been so long now. Anyways, it just looks like a hole in the ground and it's not very appealing to the eye. This, on the hand, looks pretty kick-ass. Kellen Daring Traveler. It's kind of weird that Kellen made his way over here. I'm kind of curious what the story is about that. For the sorcery adventure, you create X map tokens, where X plus the number of opponents who control an artifact. I don't know what a map does. To look that up later. When it attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature with mana value of 3 or less, put it in your hand. Otherwise, you're going to put it in your graveyard. At least you don't leave it on top. Putting things in your graveyard in the right deck is almost just as effective, so I kind of appreciate that. This art looks weird to me. Kind of reminds me of like Arabian Nights a little bit. I don't know. I think it's the
totally out of proportion
of his body. It's super narrow waist, broad shoulders. Doesn't look like an Aztec feel to me. It looks like something else. Looks like something from Aladdin. Saheeli, the Sun's Brilliance. For red and blue, you get to tap it to create a token that's a copy of another target creature or artifact you control. It has haste, sack at the beginning of the next end step. I kind of like that Saheeli's made her way here. I don't know why it fits, but it feels like it does. I can't put my finger on it. I think it's just a value piece. Since it's only temporary, if it was permanent, I'd probably like this card a lot more. But for how cheap it is, 2 mana ain't that bad. Quintorius Kond. I didn't know this guy got a spark. Cast a spell from exile. You do 2 damage to each opponent. You gain 2 life. That's a passive ability, by the way. So that's kind of cool. Red is all about casting things from exile anyways. So +1. You make a spirit token, -3, discover 4. Discovering is super powerful, by the way. Discovering is basically like Cascade. In this case, it says 4. The next non-land permanent you hit from the top of your library that is 4 or less, you get to play it or put it in your hand. The nice thing about that, of being able to put it in your hand, is it gives you options. There's a lot of stuff that has clauses, like you must cast this from your hand to get X, Y, and Z. That's probably the only time where you care about putting it in your hand instead of casting it. -6, exile number of target cards from your graveyard. Get a red for each card exile this way. You may play those cards this turn. Whoa, that's nice. The entire ability just feeds into itself to pay for the spells that you want to cast. I don't know. This art makes me laugh. It's probably the eyes. It's just, I wasn't expecting this. I just got a full art treatment, and for whatever reason, they made him look like the Albert Einstein or a steampunk Dumbo. Whoa! Now this is way better. This is actually really cool. Yes to this, no to that. I don't know what that is, but this is freaking awesome. Abuelo Ancestral Echo.
Morning, Abuelo.
Flying Ward 2 has a flicker ability as a sync. That's kind of nice. And it doesn't come back till end step, so you can dodge board wipes with it. I like this card. Let's see if this is getting any cool treatment. I like it. He looks pretty cool. Old Man Spirit. Vito Fanatic of Alcazats. What a mouthful. This is kind of like a balanced version of a sack payoff. It's kind of like the 4-color Omnath. You know, when you make a land drop, something happens, and if you go up to a certain amount, then it doesn't do anything. This is the same story. You sack a creature, or any permanent for that matter. You gain 2 life on the first time. Second time, each opponent loses 2 life. Third time, you make a 4/3 white-black vampire with flying. Pretty dope. Oh man, look at that face. Between this and Quintoris, I was like, just looks weird to me. He's got the biggest shit-eating grin of all time. Like, I thought his like curled lips was his mustache, but that's just his mouth being open. He has 2 mustaches, it looks like to me. And you get a really good look at his nostrils from this angle. I hope that's not nostril hair, because he needs to go to the barber and get that taken care of, or take care of it himself. Probably better to do it that way. Ojur Tak, Deepest Foundation. It's another god with vigilance. Whenever you make a token, you make 3 times that many instead. Well, whenever you introduce a multiplier, that's really good. If you multiply it more than 2 times, you know it's really good.
I'm good with calculation.
This will be the first of something multiplying something by 3 for tokens. When it dies, return it transformed. This god also turns into a land. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you can turn it back. That's nice. Kind of feeds into itself too. Do we look at its cool version? Looks like Shadow Base from Street Fighter 2. Restless Prairie. It's another man land, the green-white one. They got to complete the cycle. Oh, when it attacks, it gives an anthem to your other creatures. That's cool. The full art version does not make any sense. We have llamas on the altar, this really fancy altar that people give offerings to. They just let the llamas have their offerings, I guess.
What? A llama?
No one's watching the harvest, I should say. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Recurring Rites of Ilmok's getting a reprint. Is it getting a full art treatment? Nope. It's probably a much needed reprint. It's like a $30 card last time I checked. Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel. Deals damage to a player, put a course counter on it, draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 4 more counters on him, you may cast a discard card without paying its mana cost. That's nice. For 2 mana, it has flash and flying too. That's really dope. You protect it the first revolution of the table because you just play it on the turn that's right before yours, and then he starts adding the counters, and then eventually the discard part won't matter to you. It's got scary fingers, but I like the art on this. Very detailed. Looks pretty sweet. Myco Tyrant. Trample has a stat block, and it's equal to the number of fungi and or saplings. For your end step, create X1/1 fungus creatures with this creature can't block, where X is the times you're descended this turn. Descended is now a keyword for putting stuff in your graveyard. They gotta put a keyword on everything nowadays. I almost wish it just said, do this on end step. Take out all this text here, take out the descended word. We don't need it. Myco Tyrant looks a lot scarier in this version. The fungus looks funny too.
Those poor unfortunate souls.
Hit the mother load. Oh yeah. Look at those pirates are celebrating. Look for some value 10 or less. This is 7 mana. And Discover 10 is obviously greater than 7, so you're getting a little bit of a better deal. And if you get stuck with a crappy permanent, you make up the difference in treasure tokens. That ain't bad. I like that. So if you discover 10 and hit a 1-drop, you make 9 treasure. Let's look at this. Does this have a... the 8 pirate monkeys, interest tapped, add 2 colorless, only to activate abilities, and has craft with 4 or more non-lands with activated abilities. Wow. All right, so for 9 mana, you exile this and exile 4 more other permanents. They also have to have activated abilities, and then this thing flips over to its other side. The nice thing, I guess, is you could use the activation of 2 mana to pay into this 9, so it's officially 7. This thing gets active abilities of all cards you exiled to craft it. You may activate each of those abilities only once a turn. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, you get to copy it and choose new targets. Okay. It's like a slightly fair card. I don't think that the hoops are worth jumping through since you only could activate it once a turn. The return is you get to copy the activation as well. So it has its downsides, it has its upside. It's only costs 1 mana. Tim decks like that kind of stuff. Jadelight Spelunker.
Spelunking.
Has ETB, explore X times. If you don't know, remember what Explore does is you look at the top card of your library. If it's a non-land, you could either throw it away to your graveyard or leave it on top and put a counter on it. Or if it's a land, you put it in your hand. So you repeat this process X amount of times. Say you find a non-land permanent you like or a non-land card that you like on top of your deck. You explore, leave it there, and then you do that the rest of the times. So say you put 6 into this, you'd put 6 counters on this and leave that card on top. The Everflowing Well. Enters battlefield, mill 2, then draw 2. Descend 8. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by the Myriad, up to one other target permanent you control becomes a copy of that spell. What a weird mouthful. If you have a permanent in play, you want it to be a copy of a permanent spell that's on the stack, you can do it. I'm more interested in the drawing and milling 2. Kind of want to play this in Brago because there aren't enough permanents that just net you cards, and this would fit quite nicely in that deck. No alternate version yet. Souls of the Lost. In order to cast this, you have to discard a card or sack a permanent. Fathomless Descent. Power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to the number +1. It's just a vanilla 2-drop. It feels very similar to that of Tarmogoyf. It's slightly stronger because it counts all the permanents. It doesn't care about the types for the same mana cost too. So this is going to be quite the house in 60 card formats, I think. If you like Tarmogoyf, you're gonna like that. Cosmium Confluence. So choose 3. You may choose the same one more than once. Switch your library for a cave. Put on the battlefield tapped. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on a cave you control. Comes with a 0/0 elemental with haste, and it's a land, or destroy target enchantment. What the heck's a cave? I don't know what a cave is. We're gonna find out, I'm sure. Intrepid Paleontologist. It's a mana dork. Can exile a card from a graveyard for 2 mana. And then you may cast Dinosaurs creature spells from among cards you own exiled with this card. And if you do cast something that way, it has finality, so it exiles once it dies again. It does say a graveyard, so you could target other people's stuff. You just won't be able to cast it if it just so happens to be a dinosaur, because it specifically says you have to own that dino. I like that what this does. It could tap itself for mana to pay into its own exile ability. You could think of this as you get 1 activation to exile something for 1 mana, and everything else beyond that is 2. Cavaleno. First of the Blessed. Whenever you attack, target attacking vampire isn't a demon, becomes a demon. When that creature dies, draw a card and create a tapped 4/3 black vampire demon with flying. Alright, something going on with all the demons. So basically, you can't use the tokens this generates to get that weird attack trigger. The nice part about the thing is it's a permanent trigger. It's not until end of turn, so once you turn it into a demon,
there's no turning back, baby.
Admiral Brass, the Unsinkable. I like that name. When it enters mill 4, beginning of your combat on your turn, you may return a target pirate creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finale count. Has base power, toughness 4/4, and haste till end of turn. It's a nice recovery option for pirates. There's not enough good ones out there. It's pretty sweet, and also feeds into itself with the mill trigger. Hackball of the Surging Soul. Each Merfolk creature you control explores. Whenever it attacks, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield if you don't draw. Okay. This thing does a lot of work. Making each Merfolk explore is really powerful. So if you have lands on top of your library, you fill it up with lands, and then whenever he attacks, enables you to make another land drop. And if you don't want to do that, you could draw the card you left on top of your library with that Explore trigger. Very flexible card. Let's see if it's getting a version. Way cooler. I like the colors on this. Purple, green, and blue. Pantlaza Sun Favor. When it or another dino enters the battlefield under your control, discover X, or X is the creature's toughness. Okay, so it enters, you discover 4, you look for a 4-drop or less, cascade it or put it in your hand. And then we get the oil paint version, which looks lightweight cooler. Gishath's back. Vigilant Trample Haste, the Unholy Trinity. It's the same version of Gishath. That's kind of wild that it's getting a reprint. I know Gishath is really expensive. It was like a $20 card. Underworld Breach is getting a full art treatment. That looks freaking badass. I like the faces and the smoke. I'm gonna be picking up a copy for myself. Thrasios is getting a full art treatment. Really cool looking one. Star Compass. I don't run Star Compass that often, but when I do, I would appreciate a full art version. Expedition Map's getting a full art treatment. Chalice of the Void's getting a full art treatment. I haven't played a good Chalice deck in a long time. I think Chalice is probably one of those cards that's exclusively for CEH. I don't see it played outside of that other than in like 60 card formats. In the ones that aren't banned, because Chalice is that broken. Treasure Map's going to reprint. Lets you scry, and once you have 3 or more counters on this, you make 3 treasure tokens. On the backside, you could either tap for colorless or sack a treasure or draw. This is really integral for a lot of control decks in 60 card formats. I don't really care for it that much in Commander. It sucks up a rare slot. Bridge from Below is getting a reprint. This full art looks cool. The wording is a little weird. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard, if this enchantment's in your graveyard, you make a 2/2 zombie. But as soon as a creature of your opponent's gets put in the graveyard,
Don't kill him.
If you kill him.
you have to exile Bridge from Below. So it usually only gets played in dredge decks because all they do is throw their stuff into their graveyard and cheat them out in some way. This will help you like extend and make your board wider. Kalamax getting a full art treatment. This is probably one of the most broken teamer commanders out there. Between him and Animar, they're pretty much on par with each other because when he's tapped, you can copy a spell, specifically an instant, and then you get to choose new targets. But there's a lot of infinite loops that pair up with this card. Let's say you play Reiterate or Fork or something. Target someone else's spell, Kalamax is tapped, and you will copy the copy spell, and that goes infinite, and you can make Kalamax an infinite size, and the art looks cool. Arcane Signets get another full art treatment. Pick a copy up for myself. Just like it a lot more. Amulet of Vigor is getting a full art treatment too. This is played in a lot of stacks decks because they like to tap everyone's lands down. I like it in Archelos, the Turtle Man. It's also played in the Green Titan decks because they play all the bounce lands and all the tap lands.
I found a way.
Whenever a non-token creature with power 4 or greater enters, you get to populate. It specifically says non-token, so you can't make a 4/4 token and then copy it and do an infinite loop. That they did that on purpose. I'm pretty sure there's a way where you could break this card. If you could bounce a creature back to your hand with 4 power and replay it for free, you could make infinite tokens. Animar would probably appreciate this because you do the cost reduction, you're playing a lot of colorless creatures that are big, and you're playing things that bounce stuff back to your hand, so you could get the Animar trigger more often, or get them as big as you can. And now you get to populate in that weird, I don't know if you need to add another piece to the equation, but it's a fun piece nonetheless. Command Tower, I think this has a backside to it too. Yeah, you could have the Brontosaurus side, that's everything's overgrown and dinosaurs are taking over. You could take the theme park side. Ravenous Tyrannosaurus. Devour 3. Sack any number of creatures. For each creature sacked, you put that many counters on it. So if you sack 3 creatures, you put 9 counters on him. I guess it's the she, isn't? If you haven't seen Jurassic Park or don't remember all the fine details of Jurassic Park, is all the animals are female and unable to reproduce. But they mess up and put frog DNA in there, and then they could reproduce asexually.
That's how they reproduce.
No sex?
No time for sex.
Bummer.
When it attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to up to one other target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Wow. It's not trample, it's better than trample. So before the combat damage step happens, this is a separate trigger. You just deal damage to any target of your choosing, and it dies, and whatever damage you do in excess tramples over and hits the person. That's a cool card. Now all you need to do is put trample on this, and then you get to, deal a difference in damage 2 times per attack. Elian Allen, the paleontologist, cares about your graveyard. You discover X, where X is the mana value of an exiled card. Super good. I think this will be a popular commander in banned colors. People like casting stuff for free, and the fact that you are just exiling a creature from your graveyard, it just gives you more value. I like the theme of this card. I like the graveyard shenanigans in general. We've already seen like a couple of cards that care about your graveyard in this set. It kind of all fits together. Like in Jurassic Park, you're reviving dinosaurs that have been extinct for years, so it makes sense. In the world of Magic, reviving things happens all the time. There's no secret there.
Bingo. Dino DNA.
Exile a target creature from a graveyard, only activate as a sorcery. For 6 mana, you get to create a token copy of that creature that was exiled, since it's a 6/6 dinosaur with trample. That's awesome. I like that you could exile any card from a graveyard. You gotta be careful though, because once you imprint something new, you can't go back. Indoraptor, the perfect hybrid. I like the art of this card. This is actually my favorite of the Jurassic World movies. I just thought the whole thing was super cool. The twist was nice. The story was awesome. Bloodthirst X enters with X counters on it, where X is the number of damage dealt to your opponents this turn, has Menace and Rage. When it deals damage, choose an opponent at random. It deals damage equal to its power to that player unless they sack a non-token creature. This is a pretty dense card for 3 mana. I like this. This is a really sweet Jund creature. I also like that it makes people either take a ton of damage or sack a relevant creature. Throne of the Grim Captain. Mill 2 cards, and then craft with a Dino, Merfolk, Pirate, and Vampire for 4 mana. If you don't remember what craft is, you have to exile these specific things for it to transform. I'm sorry, but my mind went straight to the gutter. Why is the dinosaur skull, where the genitalia would be? And then we get the leg here, which also doesn't help. Doesn't have a foot attached to it either.
Tasteless, uncensored crotch talk.
All right, forget what I was saying. Menace, trample, lifelink, hexproof. Whenever it attacks, each opponent sacks a non-land permanent. Then you may put an exiled creature card used to craft this onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. Oh, that's really nice. You get the thing back. This card's really sweet. Oh, the crafting pieces can also be in your graveyard too. So again, utilizing your graveyard, not letting anything go to waste. I like the nature of this card. And then you get them back again if you get to attack with this thing. Bonehorde Dracusaur. Flying first strike, 5/5 for 5 mana. If your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. If you exile the land this way, create a 3/1 Dino. If you exile a non-land this way, create a treasure. That helps pay for your stuff. I like that. I like seeing cards and then getting more benefits for it. The full art oil painting is also really sick. Dinosaur Dragon, that's a first. Bringer of the Last Gift. For 8 mana, it's a flying vampire demon. I'm kind of disappointed in this because it specifically has a cast clause. If it was an ETB trigger, you could abuse this, but it's not as fun. Living Death is just way better. It's 3 mana cheaper. You have to interact with it on the stack. I wouldn't go out of my way to put this in my deck because it's 8 mana. That's pretty relevant.
Can't see us if we don't move.
Destroy all tapped creatures until your next turn. Whenever a creature becomes tapped, destroy it. I love the flavor of this card. The title, the art, and what it actually does. It all ties itself quite perfectly. This is quite the tempo board wipe. If someone tries to attack you without the full revolution having passed, the creature will die before damage is dealt. So I highly recommend you don't attack unless your creature has vigilance. Copy Swarm. Beginning of your end step. If a creature died this turn, create a tapped copy of Copy Swarm. This thing you get out of hand. Because you make a copy of Copy Swarm, there's 2 in play. So the next end step that something dies, you make an additional 2, and it exponentially grows, kind of like Scoot Swarm. And it has a morbid trigger. I wonder why they included the weird keywords from earlier, but they didn't staple morbid on the end of this. That brings us to the end of the spoilers. I'm pretty stoked on it. My channel is obviously about pop culture. They have freaking Jurassic Park in this set. Seems like it's right up my alley. And I'm a Magic content creator. I'm not going to just let this pass. I hope you all enjoyed my evaluations of these cards and enjoyed hearing the thoughts of everything. Something I want to mention on my channel, I have a community tab where I'm taking a poll about what's the scariest. It's the month of Halloween. I want to do a special video for all y'all based on what everyone votes for. Your choices: zombies, werewolves, vampires, or spirits. Whatever gets the most votes, I will feature that in a video on Halloween. So everyone take care. Have a great time. Bye.